I love a good cheesesteak, so I'm kind of suspicious whether this can replace it for me.
Well, let me tell you, if you love cheesesteaks, you're gonna love roast pork, possibly even more than a cheesesteak.
All right, all right.
All right, so we're gonna start off with our seasoning rub for our pork. The best places had an aggressively seasoned or well-seasoned pork roast that was in the sandwich. So we're starting off with a salt and herb rub. We have a tablespoon of kosher salt here. We're gonna add to that 2 teaspoons of dried oregano, 2 teaspoons of dried thyme, and then we're gonna add 2 teaspoons of fresh rosemary. All right, then we're gonna add 2 teaspoons of fennel seeds and 1 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. We'll mix with our baby whisk. All right, this is a 4-pound boneless pork butt, which of course comes from the upper part of the shoulder. We're gonna tie this at 1-inch intervals, and that's just to keep it compact and nice and neat while it cooks.
Okay.
So I always like to start off by tying right in the middle. And I go through once and then twice. Then we'll come on the other side of that, about by 1 inch. Okay, so we'll just trim our twine to about 1/2 inch or so. And then rather than seasoning this pork on the board, I'm gonna put it in the pot to start seasoning it. That way anything that falls off of it just actually stays in the pot and it's gonna cook with the pork.
Very smart.
I'll start on the back side, just kind of season all over. When I was at John's Roast Pork and I was watching them work with the pork shoulders that they boned out and they were seasoning, they put an immense amount of seasoning on those. I think that was the difference and why it was one of the best pork sandwiches I had, because it was just so well seasoned. Okay, so the pork is in there. We're gonna add 8 cloves of garlic that have been peeled. And finally, we're gonna add 2 cups of chicken broth. Now in Philadelphia, a lot of these guys use a pork broth that they've made from the bones they've taken out of these shoulders, and that simmers for a long time and they end up cooking the pork in that, so it's got this really extra porky flavor. It's a little bit more convenient for us to use chicken broth, so that's what we're gonna do. So there's 2 cups, and we're gonna take care to just pour it around and not over top so we don't wash any of the spice rub off the top of the pork. So this is gonna go into the oven at 300 degrees. We've set the rack to the lower middle position, and we're gonna let it cook nice and slow for 2.5 to 3 hours until the pork hits 190 degrees. 190 is important because we want this pork to be tender, but still sliceable. We don't want it to shred when we go to cut it.
All right, no pulled pork.
No pulled pork. All right, so again, we're gonna look for 190 degrees. So we're gonna go right into the center of the pork, 191. So we wanna take the pork out of the broth, kind of shake it loose. We'll drop it on this plate here. All right, so we'll let it come to room temperature, which takes about an hour. And we could throw it in the fridge for at least an hour, but you could really refrigerate it for up to 2 days. And actually the longer the better, because the more firm it is, the easier it is to slice that pork nice and thin.
Nice.
Okay, and we're gonna chill also this broth. So I'm gonna drop this into our liquid measuring cup here. And so we're looking for 3 cups of liquid, and we have that. It's got a nice little fat cap on it too, and the benefit of chilling this, again, overnight or up to 2 days, is that fat's gonna solidify and we can remove it before we make our final sandwiches.
We'll get you right back to the video. Check out Cook's Country's newest book, The Complete Cook's Country TV Show Cookbook. Over 16 seasons and more than 600 recipes are condensed into this cookbook, jam-packed with every recipe we feature on the show, plus stories, tips, and reviews. Go on the road with Cook's Country and tour the U.S. through food. Get inspired by dishes from restaurants, regions, and chefs all over America. All in this one convenient cookbook. To order your copy of the Complete Cook's Country TV Show Cookbook, scan the QR code or visit cookscountry.com to continue your Cook's Country journey.
In Philadelphia, you can get your roast pork sandwich with either braised spinach like they do over at John's Roast Pork, or a lot of places use broccoli rabe. And I kind of favor the broccoli rabe because it adds a nice bitterness to cut some of the richness of the sandwich. So that's what we're gonna do here today.
Okay.
I have 2 tablespoons of olive oil in here, and I'm just gonna slice up 3 cloves of garlic, nice and thin. All right, and we could throw this garlic into our olive oil. We're gonna put that over medium heat, let that slowly begin to brown. And now we could talk broccoli rabe. I'm a huge fan of broccoli rabe. The thing about broccoli rabe is you want to wash it really well because it can come with a lot of sand stuck to it. You don't want to get that grittiness when you eat the sandwich. You also want to trim off this bottom bit here. We're just going to trim those up. And then we're just going to cut this into 1/2-inch pieces. So just going to run the knife right through it Doesn't have to be perfect, it's gonna get cooked down a good amount.
Okay.
All right, so we're looking for the garlic to get just brown around the edges. It takes about 3 to 5 minutes. And this garlic is about there, so we could add all of our broccoli rabe. You know, that water that clings to the leaves helps it steam a little bit too. So
Perfect.
even more reason to wash your vegetables. And we're gonna add 2 teaspoons of kosher salt and just a pinch of red pepper flakes. So we're gonna let this cook for a good 6 minutes. We're looking for the broccoli to get nice and tender and wilt down.
Okay.
Our broccoli rabe has been cooking for about 6 minutes. It's still bright green, but it's nice and tender. And we can go ahead and just add that to our bowl here. Okay, so we could set this aside.
All right.
And now we're going to add our broth, our cooking liquid, to the Dutch oven here. So you can see, since we've refrigerated this, how much fat is solidified on top. And we can just use a spoon to kind of break this and
Pop the cap off.
pop the cap. So we're gonna add our broth to the Dutch oven.
My goodness.
We're gonna bring this to a boil over high heat. And while that's coming to a boil, we could go back to our pork.
Okay.
At this time, it's fully chilled. I'm gonna take off these strings. And then I'm just gonna split this lengthwise. And we just wanna slice this as thinly as possible. All right, so our meat is sliced. Reduce the heat to low on our broth that's now come to a boil. And we're gonna drop our meat into the pot. This makes enough meat for at least 8 sandwiches.
Okay.
But I'm just making 2 sandwiches here. So we're gonna pop a lid onto this and let it warm up for about 3 minutes, and we'll give it the occasional stir.
Okay.
One of the most important elements of a roast pork is a good quality bread. So this is bread from Karanji's in Philadelphia. It's a local bakery. And you're looking for something that's nice and sturdy on the outside and really cottony on the inside. So it absorbs a lot of the juice, but it doesn't have a blowout when you go to eat it. So one of the things about buying a sandwich at one of these shops is they come wrapped in paper. So you get this steamy, hot pork in contact with the cheese, and everything gets melty and nice and beautiful. Since we're not wrapping these sandwiches, we want to pop the bread in the oven with some of the cheese on there, just to kind of expedite some meltiness. So we'll just layer some sharp provolone. We have a 450-degree oven, and the rack is set to the middle position. We'll let these cook for about 3 minutes until the cheese begins to melt and the bread is warmed through.
Great.
The cheese is just beginning to melt. Those look delicious. Now our pork is nice and warm.
Gorgeous.
So as you build these sandwiches, one of the most important elements is to build it over the pot. So you can pick up all that jus and just layers in nicely. All right, we'll top it with broccoli rabe. Oh man, that is a good looking sandwich. All right, this is almost too big to manage, but
Almost.
I'm gonna power through it.
Yeah. I'm right there with you.
That is without a doubt one of the best sandwiches I've ever eaten.
The pork is unbelievably tender. The spices, that rosemary, just that little bit of rosemary, it's just there underneath. But the broccoli rabe, it's just that gorgeous bitterness.
For full episodes of your favorite cooking shows, head over to ATK's Full Episodes channel on YouTube. You can stream complete seasons of America's Test Kitchen, Cook's Country, and more. See you there.